Prime Time. Replay from MoneyFM 89.3. First things first. Hosted by Howie Lim and Bernard Lim.
Industry reports estimate data center construction market in Southeast Asia will reach some $2 billion by 2024, with Singapore dominating market share in 2018.
In an effort to unlock opportunities offered by a digital economy, the Singapore government has also launched a slew of initiatives in the past few months, including a new Digital Industry Singapore, which is DISG, office and investments of $40 million to build a 5G ecosystem. Omar Wilson is a vice president for marketing APAC at Digital Realty, and is here to talk about powering Singapore's digital ambitions. Well, Omar, tell us the importance of data centers in empowering these ambitions.
Sure. Well, thank you very much. A great honor to be here. I want to wish everybody a very happy National Day for tomorrow.
Oh, happy to have you. Well. Thank you so much.
And it's quite relevant, I think, when we're looking at celebrating the National Day and we look back at Singapore's history. It's always been such a key and strategic trading hub. Mm-hmm. And in those days, it was really merchants and goods that was being traded. It's ironic today that the resource is now data. So data is the modern goods that's transacted. So that makes it so critical for Singapore to remain such a key data and data center location.
What makes Singapore, though, an attractive market, Omar, for infrastructure investment?
Specifically, the market itself, it's a very secure and safe location. So it really follows similar to it being a financial hub, similar for data. When you build data centers and you want to store your data, you want the infrastructure and the national grid to be very secure and reliable. And Singapore ticks all those boxes. It's also, obviously, the location is so key. Sitting within Southeast Asia, within, a location that's surrounded by so many large populations and large data-hungry users, makes it a very good location to bring your data and store your data.
If I may, though, Omar, why is that important in today's age? I mean, the internet makes geographical locations kind of obsolete or pointless.
Yeah, a good question. It does to a degree, but when you start going into, let's look at financial trading, latency and distances become absolutely critical. But then let's take it a step further. If you look at social media and video, you've got these users on mobiles now in these emerging populations, young populations using data. When you start using data on mobile and video, latency becomes very key. So you do have very large corporates, the tech companies, basing themselves in Singapore because they need to be close to those populations.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us what are some of the challenges for DC operators here?
Sounds like a comic book, but that's data center, yes?
Well, there's not many, so we can start by saying that it's a very good location for data centers. So there aren't many, but there are some. And I think that the primary one is not too dissimilar to many other locations, actually, as data centers grow, is land. It's a bit more specific in Singapore because land is a bit more constrained. So, as we grow out our footprint, and other providers within Singapore as well are finding this, EDB, JTC, and the government bodies are having to work very hard in planning that around enabling land access. So land constraint is an issue, but it's one that Singapore is planning for.
How is Singapore's status, though, now as a data center hub? What might challenge it?
Very strong. As of today, it's very strong. And within Asia Pacific, I would go as far as saying it's probably the key data center hub for transaction and enabling data. The challenge piece will be the surrounding region. Some of the surrounding economies and locations continue their, very rapid growth. They're also going to be key data hubs, but I don't think it's a if or and an or question. I think that both of those locations are going to be key, all those locations, and Singapore's still going to be quite unique for its position as a data center transaction hub.
Mm-hmm. What trends can we expect from the estimated 10,000 or so new tech-related jobs said to be opening up in the private sector over the next 3 years?
Yeah, I think it's a very good sign. I think it shows, all the investments that Singapore is making around being a smart nation are really paying off. I think the trends will be around all the key areas that many other global centers are seeing. So artificial intelligence, robotics, all of these areas are going to spin off lots of new jobs and employment. So it's ironic when people talk about automation and technology.
Taking away jobs, but actually, yeah.
Exactly. There's a bit of a fear that, that jobs will go. Actually, there's new industries that are going to spin off. And that point around the thousands of jobs that's going to be created, it's going to be there. It's going to be data analytics. It's going to be machine learning. It's going to be within all of those automation. And it's not just one sector. All of the sectors will be impacted.
Omar, earlier this year, Digital Realty acquired land to develop its third facility, Digital Loyang 2, expanding its connected campus in Loyang. How are you guys going to use this to help businesses here expand their digital footprint.
Yeah, thank you. So it goes, very much hand in hand with our discussion earlier that Singapore is such a key hub for many of our multinational and cross-regional customers. So as they grow within our footprints, they're looking for new locations within Singapore to enable their customer bases. So in a new data center model that we're doing, the connected campus, customers within our existing facilities have the opportunity to expand really down the road to more data center footprint. And then new customers obviously coming in can benefit from the fact that we have these existing 2 data centers within Singapore are connected to each other, but then also connected out to our global footprint of data centers as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are currently 63.4 million square feet of data center space globally and another 4.3 million square feet under construction. How are we going to cope with this when the pipeline is primed to balloon, obviously?
Yeah, it's a great question. So it's just to throw out there as well, that of that 64 million, digital realty represents about 34 million square footage. So digital realty itself is a very large footprint of that data center space. It's a very, very good question. Data usage is not going to reduce, it's going to increase. Mm-hmm. So there's no getting away. And when people use the cloud, they assume that infrastructure is somewhere far away. It's actually within a physical data center. So I think there's a few different things happening. One is around building these facilities as sustainably as we can. So really around the energy usage, bringing down the amount of energy they need and the amount of energy that transferred to the servers. 2, around using renewable energies as much as possible. And then 3, there's a lot of interesting stuff happening around how they're being built. So we've always built in Asia, which is different to how we've built in North America or Australia, for example.
Why is that?
Because of the land constraint.
Right.
So we're having to build up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, very much so. So we just recently announced, for example, in Korea, we're going to build a 10-story data center. Already in Jurong, we've got a 6-7 floor data center, and Loyang 1 is 4. Loyang 2 is going to be 5 floors. So you're having to build up anyway in terms of data center footprint. I think that's going to continue. We're seeing a lot of interesting technology developments around how data centers are built to meet that demand, but it's not slowing down. So I think it's a global positioning around how do we make them more efficient, because they do use energy, but people need data and the world needs data to function.
Tell us why building vertically may be a challenge.
When you build data centers, generally, the campus model is most beneficial. And by campus, you mean 1, maximum 2 floors, really.
Okay.
Because you can maximize the amount of space you have. But to do that, you need, in the US, we go up to about 1 million, sometimes 1.5 million square foot of space.
Flat.
So it's very flat. Yeah. When you're going up because you've got a constrained amount of land. But then, 1, the costs go up because you're having to build upwards, which is not easy. There's a lot of technology within these buildings, expensive technology. And obviously, you're having to really do the floors from the top downwards. So the costs and the complexity of building does go up. And then going back to the sustainability message, you want to keep them as efficient as you can.
So flat is more efficient than up?
Flat can be more efficient because you can do a bit more with the cooling infrastructure. Now, when you go up, you're just having to compact stuff into a bit more of a small space. So we're just trying to become more innovative around how we do that.
Right.
And then balance that with the need of not taking up too much more land to
Right,
build the facilities.
right. What are the expansion plans for digital realty after this?
I'll take a breather. Come on, guys.
No time to breathe.
30 million square feet of data center space.
No chance to take a breather, really. So we are 50 megawatts, which is our largest. Will be our largest in Asia. Will be our 3rd facility in Singapore, Loyang 2. But then after that, to give you an idea, we're already speaking with the Singapore authorities around what
Loyang
else is
3.
out there, or even other parts of Singapore, and that goes back to the point that the Singapore government is just having to plan that correctly. So they're having to take a step back and really work with us and other providers around what are the customers demanding and where in Singapore can they be put. But no stopping. Once we have that open next year, we'll be looking already at new growth opportunities.
And still in Singapore, you're finding it, despite the extra cost needed to build vertically.
Yes, no, very much so. And that's really, we're a commercial organization, so we're building because our customers are demanding it, and we don't see any outlet, be it technology customers, be it financial customers, wanting to be in Singapore. So more data centers will be needed.
So we're stuck with you.
Unfortunately.
Omar Wilson, Vice President of Marketing APAC at Digital Realty. Omar, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at MoneyFM89.3.sg or download the SPH radio app available on Google Play or the App Store.